Vivian, have you seen any of the episodes?
Yeah.
All right, so you know the format.
Yeah, I've seen at least with the two duchies.
Yes. You don't happen to be a former hairdresser, do you?
No.
Oh man.
No such luck there.
Going for the hat trick. Welcome to Power Platform Connections, where we take time to interview the amazing community contributors like you and cover all the fantastic blogs and articles and videos that you've all been submitting to us over the last week. My name is David Warner. I'm a community program manager for Microsoft for Power Platform. And with me is my co-host.
Hi, I'm Hugo Bernier. I'm also a community program manager for Microsoft. And today, our guest is a solution architect. She's a Microsoft Business Applications MVP. She's a specialist in Dynamics 365, Dynamics Marketing, Power Platform. She's a Scrum Master. She's a speaker. She's an author. I don't know if we're going to be able to cover all that stuff today. But our guest is Vivian Voss. Vivian?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. Always good to talk to you guys.
Well,
Did I miss anything? Did I forget anything? It seemed like...
in that long list of things?
Yes.
No.
Jumbo shrimp, coconut shrimp. All right. So thank you for taking the time to spend with us today, Vivian. Why don't you take a minute and introduce yourself to the viewers so that they can kind of get to know who you are?
Yeah, I'm Vivian. From Denmark. Actually originally from Estonia, but living in Denmark. As Hugo just mentioned, I do a lot of things. Primarily focus is recently on Dynamics 365 marketing and also Power Platform. I talk a lot. That also shows in my conference list this year. I actually travel quite a lot come to travel a lot this year. So you can see me basically all parts of the world soon. So that also shows a bit that I love traveling. I do blogging. I do everything I can get my hands on and help on. This year was also the first time I actually organized the conference with a small team on my own in Tallinn, Estonia, which was a huge success. So I'm really even more hyped about community and conferences after that success.
Yeah, that's exciting. You're going to be all over the world. So forget Carmen Sandiego, right? It's going to be like, where in the world is Vivian Voss? We can make a game out of it. All right. So as we always do, start out with a little personal side of you. You submitted some information to us about some of your favorite things like food and cars and locations, stuff like that. There was one that stuck out to me that I want to talk about first. I'm so excited about is your favorite car was a Ford Mustang Shelby GT 500 67. So I'll preface this with saying that my son and I have a 67, not a Shelby, but a 67 Ford Mustang we're restoring right now. So that's kind of why it peaked. But why? What's the story behind that? Is there something that you saw, or how did that become kind of your favorite dream car?
I love the way it looks and sounds. The Mustang has evolved a lot in the years. There's a lot of versions of it. And it has become rather round recently, to be fair. And I see that in a lot of cars. They were really, they had some character before, and now when they become to be electric or come to modern world, then they become very rounded. But I like it. It has character. It has edge. Well, of course, it was Fast and the Furious kind of put it also pretty nicely on the scene there. But it looks great. It sounds great. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool. And I think I'm not sure if it was the 67 and Gone in 60 Seconds. That was
it was the 67.
Eleanor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that a lot of people fell in love with it after that movie as well, I think, because it's just so iconic and everything. That's very cool.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Like on the newer ones, when I saw the new electric Mustang, I was like, a little sad, right? Because I'm like, it looks kind of like a hatchback. I might want to bring my groceries over. Yeah,
it's made to look very similar to what the masses would like, whereas before Mustang was something that you either liked or you didn't like. So it's love-hate relationship. Some people love it, some people hate it. But now it's very much fitting into the world as all the other cars. But that was the model that kind of won my heart there.
When you heart, awesome. Yeah, I'm hoping we'll see it kind of shift back to that little more aggressive, muscly look that it made it so iconic. So awesome. We have a big community, and so Tell us a little bit about how you found your place in the desire to put yourself out there and become a little bit more involved in the community as you have been.
It was a few years ago now when I was starting to work more with Power Platform and Dynamics, and thought I followed some people online, blogs, videos, as we all do and share. And then I thought about starting to speak and put myself out there and see if that will work out. Suddenly I had a tweet from Scottish Summit, which was, as far as I know, one of the first conferences that actually offered the mentorship for the new speakers. And I got paired up with Sara Lagerqvist from Sweden. And that again basically pulled me into the community that we have in Europe, and gave me contacts, she introduced me to people. I did the Scottish Summit 2019. It was COVID, so that must have been 2020. I did that, and after that, I just went full blown into all the conferences I could find. Did my first in-person speaking in 2021, and the feeling actually when you have put some of your content out there and you meet people for the first time because of COVID. So most of the people I had been chatting with online, but then meeting them the first time and realize like, hi, I'm Vivian. It's like, oh yeah, I know. Yeah, we've been chatting. Yeah, that's like the people knowing you and people welcoming you openly. It's kind of, this is weird, but I love it. More of that. So that was the same also because in Florida last year when we were in the Microsoft Power Platform conference for the first conference there was a lot of MVPs and a lot of people from the US community that I met for the first time. It felt like we've been talking and we've been friends forever. And that's the thing about community. Even though you might meet people for the first time, it feels like coming home. It's very welcoming, and I love it. And that's also what makes me motivated to put my time and effort into it, because I like helping people and I get the same back from them.
Now, before you got started in Power Platform and Dynamics, you were not a Power Platform and Dynamics person. What were you doing?
I was in the university. I actually got involved with Dynamics quite early in my career at first, but I don't have an IT background. That's true. I'm a sales marketing graduate. Got my bachelor in sales and marketing, and then started my first job as a marketing assistant, making pretty pictures and writing stories. Very quickly, I figured out making pretty pictures is not my thing that I want to make money with. So once I was, at one point when I was figuring out how to edit the picture nicer in Photoshop, that can take a long time. I heard people behind me complain about a sales system that they had to work with, that their manager told them to work with, and funnily enough, ended up being Dynamics 365 Sales, an older version, much older version than what we are on now. But that was where my path started with Dynamics and continued on to Power Platform. So didn't do well with marketing. Now I just use it as a substitute, or have actually put my Dynamics into Dynamics marketing now. So that's always a good thing.
So Vivian, that's very cool. It's very similar to the path that I kind of took. I empathize with you on the whole creative side. I started out as a graphic designer, doing graphic design and Photoshop and Illustrator and stuff like that. Moved into more development, and I feel for you there too, because I think for me it was always design can be so subjective. Right. And so just because something you created someone else doesn't like doesn't mean they hate you, but I could never get over that. Right? I'm like, they hate what I created, so they hate me. And so I wanted to get into something that was more concrete, more numbers driven, right? Like development, which I thought at the time was very black and white, which we know is absolutely not black and white. There's a million ways to accomplish any one thing in development as well, but it's a little easier to swallow at that point. So that's very, very cool.
I totally agree.
Do you find that your marketing background helps you though with Dynamics sales and marketing?
I actually do, because funnily enough, all the people that are working with marketing, or at least Dynamics 365 marketing, they don't have an IT background. Everyone of those people come from either sales, marketing, or some other type of background. But that also, it's the fact that you're not that much stuck on the tech part as well, because the customers, they're like, IT people, they don't understand us. They don't understand the business. They're like, I do. I kind of was there. So kind of trying to, I've also said that I'm always trying to create the bridge between the sales and IT, because now there's come more of that. But a few years ago, there wasn't that many people that actually knew both parts. So you either had the hardcore IT people who were like, yeah, we need to do that, and it fits there, and it's only there. And then you had the business people like, yeah, it's not that black and white. We have some people doing that. So being in between there was always interesting, let's put it that way. It still is, but there's come more and more now with both the low-code tooling that also both business people and IT people can understand. So it's easier from the IT people to explain something to business, and for business to actually explain something to IT. Well, now when you can get an app from a picture, that helps a lot.
And another area I think that might have been difficult for you to adapt is, in marketing and business, there's a good mix of male to female in the workforce. But in IT, that breakdown is not as even. There's a lot less female representation in IT. Is that something you've experienced?
Yes, that was very much because when I started my career, I worked in a small town in Denmark. So when marketing female, that's kind of normal. That's usually what people say. It's like, your marketing manager is it's a man. No, but it's like that's a female kind of a subject. But when you want to go to IT, it's like, yeah, but what do you know about the technical part? Quite a few things. But that's the same thing now. Also, when working at working at Avanade, which is a big technology company, then you can also see that even though the customers, when you look at the IT departments, when you look at the meetings, it's very much male-driven still. So getting your foot in as a female can be a bit hard, but when the people see that you're actually, you know what you're talking about, then you can also see the aha moment from them. The mentality changes when they actually know that what you're talking about, or they can see that you know what you're talking about. But what I love about the community is also that there is that much support for the equality, and no matter it's not about the gender, it's not about what you believe in. It's nothing matters as long as you do it with passion and you know what you're talking about. And that's the most important part, what I believe. And that what also keeps us all going. And there are that many, really many females actually that have come into the very technical parts of IT, which is way above my head. But I also love the throwdown once in a while when there is someone pushing back saying, I know more than you because I've been a developer for 20 years. Like, but have you tried that? And then when you actually manage to, I wouldn't say shut them up, but actually manage to throw back something to them, and then like, yeah, okay. Coming back as a little mouse.
I always say the only certainty for anyone who says they know everything is that they don't, right? I always joke, the only thing that I do know for sure is that I don't know everything, which is really the case for all this, especially with technology moving so fast. So it's really inspiring to hear what you say about the community, how it's inclusive, because I think that those that are helping kind of curate it work hard to make sure that there's an inclusive opportunity for everyone. Because, there should be an open door for anyone and everyone that wants to be part of the community and get more involved. So. Absolutely.
The more I learn, the less I know is what I have figured out. So sad, but good in a way.
Well, I learned a trick to find out when people in IT don't know about something. They, instead of saying I don't know about it, what they'll say is, "Oh, I heard it's slow and it's buggy." So they just dismiss it, right? It's like, "Oh, I heard it's slow and it's buggy, so that's why I don't handle it."
Or you have the consultancy answer, which is it depends.
That's a great one. Yeah, but that one's so true though, right? Because people are looking for a black and white answer with a non-black and white question. So, but that is the classic consulting answer.
But it was when I started consultancy, and I thought, I will never do that. I will never say that. The more I get into it, it's like, I don't want to say that, but it depends.
It's almost impossible to avoid saying that at some point when people want something. So, well, awesome. Now you mentioned you got a number of speaking events coming up. One of which is the Microsoft Power Platform Conference.
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about what it is that you're going to be speaking about?
Yeah, I will be bringing you my new favorite tool, which is the release planner. We'll talk about that. 25 minutes, a bit of in-depth, also trying to figure out if there's something new coming and how to actually make sure that you get your releases planned more accordingly. It's an awesome tool. I love it. Talk about it every meeting and every call I have. So people might have gotten sick at that point, but I don't care. It's a good tool, and absolutely everyone should know about it.
I actually love the release planner because when I worked as a cloud solution architect, I'd have customers that would be like, okay, we have this big project that's we're building, on the Power Platform or in Dynamics, and we're really afraid that Microsoft is going to bring something in the middle of us developing our project that's going to actually cause delays or introduce new features we didn't want and things like that. So I used to actually go through all the releases by hand, and I used to create a little Excel spreadsheet and kind of do a matrix of the projects you're working on, the technologies you're using, and what's coming at what time. Now the release planner allows you to actually get visibility into what's coming up, and you can actually share these release plans with your customers.
That's the awesome part of it, that you can also communicate in it, actually, with them, to write your own notes there and then tell people that, hey, check this out. It's an awesome tool.
I love watching new ones find that tool or showing that tool. Like Vivian, you've done obviously a community call snippet of it. It was a very snack-sized, if you will, version or consumption of it, right? It'll be a bigger version at the conference. And I've seen Hugo and I show it off. It's always fun because it's like, I don't know. It's like showing mankind fire for the first time, right? They're like, oh, what is this
aha moment?
Yeah, what is this tool? Where did this come from, right? And so it's always fun, and it's like watching their mind get blown by it. But it is so useful because it allows you to do all the things that are valuable for planning.
Yeah, and it is also, it's not something that is for the people that are consultants working with the tech. It is actually for everyone in every company that is planning the releases, and they have to do it in order to stay on top. So that's useful for everyone.
Absolutely.
And I also have a second one, which is about Dynamics 365 marketing and figuring out how you can combine different tools to get a better solution out of your marketing flows, focusing mostly on events.
So that sounds really exciting, Vivian. Now, you had mentioned that you started speaking during COVID, which of course for all of us was 100% virtual, right? Since then, the world has started opening back up. We've got all these live events spinning back up, which is exciting. You've spoken at a few. What is some advice that you have for those who did the same, but maybe yet haven't gotten to that in-person step yet and are wanting to do that, but maybe a little nervous about stepping outside that virtual shell? What advice might you have for them to get inspired to do more?
Definitely do it. The first step is submit. Definitely, and you have to just take the step, take the plunge. It's not going to get harder or easier because the virtual event versus the live event are two different things. Yes, you have practice speaking. You can have a session for 45 to 60 minutes, but once you get on the stage and you look at all the people, it's way different. I know it is. And also one thing is practice. Your first time will be nerve-wracking. There's no easy way of saying it will be. Right before basic, I'm pretty sure I sweat through everything I had on that day. The first time I was looking at the people in real life while I was on stage. But it is also the fact that the moment you get there and you start your speech, you can see people, they cheer on to you, quietly mostly, but you can see the fact that people look interested. They want to be there. They want to hear what you're saying. And also the fact that they are nodding along, that helps a lot with the fact that in virtual, you do not see your audience. So you might be talking to a black wall, whereas in real life, you actually get energy and you get excitement from the audience itself. So even though you might be mega nervous, I still am after doing quite a few in-person ones. It is kind of what drives you as well. So wanting to do better, wanting to give people the information that they came there for, and actually getting the feedback right away is what makes it way better than virtual ones. I have heard some speakers actually not doing virtual ones anymore because the in-person one is such a better experience. But you have to take the plunge.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking when you said the first one, you'll be super nervous. I thought it was kind of funny because Hugo and I always talk about, I think the 101st one, you'll still be nervous, right? Which is okay, because that means you care. You care about doing a good job for the audience and stuff like that. So it's okay.
The moment you're not nervous, the moment you're just, I'll wing it, then you should stop, because then then your heart is not in it anymore.
Agreed.
And it's not like you didn't have a lot of experience performing in front of a crowd before you started speaking in public, and you're still nervous. Do you mind talking about that experience? Because that's kind of unique.
That I'm still nervous. I get nervous a lot. No, I have been basically performing my whole life. Was doing circus studio when I was a young kid, which is an acrobat, putting people in positions they should not be in when they haven't practiced, and throwing things that you probably should not be throwing if you don't know how to catch them. So I've been in front of an audience since I was 6, 7. But that's different also from the fact, because there you're also nervous. But there, when you mess up, bones get broken. So that's a bit different. If you mess up on the stage now, then you kind of go
refresh
smoothly.
the browser, right?
Or you say that the internet cut off.
That's right.
Some things that happen, but it is different. Although I do think it has prepared me in the terms of trying to interact with the audience.
Now, I will say that we're going to be in Vegas, and they have all those Cirque du Soleil things. So maybe we could figure out to get you some rings and strings, and you can do power platforms swinging through the session room.
So please have the ambulance there. So we can create a new solution for the power with the power apps for how to very quickly get the first responders into
That's right.
hall.
First responding with our platform.
Yes.
I think it's an important thing to remember, though, is that even though you've been performing in front of public since you were 6, you still get nervous speaking in public, and that's the thing, right? You want people to enjoy themselves. You want people to get the value from being there, get the excitement, being in the circus, or learn new things from your public speaking engagements. And you're still nervous. And that's something that shouldn't stop anybody that just wants to get started speaking in public. It's, you'll be nervous, and it means you care. And just embrace it.
And the rush you get afterwards, worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Vivian, thank you for taking the time to spend with us today. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to spend a little time answering questions and talking about the community. We're excited to see you in Vegas in October. We'll probably see you at some event before then, but we know for sure we'll see you there.
Yes.
Appreciate you. Appreciate all you've done for us. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. It was nice meeting you.
You too.
Bye.
All right, everybody, it's time to take a look at all the amazing content, articles, blogs, videos that you've recorded and shared with us over the past week. Remember, you can get us to include any and all of your content by using the hashtag #PowerPlatformConnects, and we will absolutely be sure to get that involved and include it in our show. Now, Hugo, what do you got for us?
Well, thank you, David. Our first post is actually a video from Shane Young. It's a video on Power Apps barcode reader control, how to unleash the full potential. And one of the things that Shane talks about is the new barcode control that's available that allows you to do things like single, auto, and multi-scan. And his video is very cool. He shows all the cool ways that you can use the barcode control It's a quick video to watch. I strongly recommend it. Our next article is by EY Kalman, where he talks about developer environment deletion. In the Power Platform, developers or users can now create up to 3 development environments. And if the environments are not used within about 90 days, the environment is considered inactive and will be disabled. And of course, admins and owners will be notified. But if no action is taken on the environment will be deleted in about 30 days. Now, how does Microsoft actually define that an environment is active versus inactive? Well, that's one of the things that EY talks about. Is he goes into the details of things like user activities, right? Launching an app, executing a flow, and doing things like that. There's also maker activity, so creating, reading, and updating the content or the apps. And the last thing is admin activity, so doing environment operations such as copying, deleting, backing up, and recovering. Now, the activity also includes automated behavior, such as scheduling workflows. For example, if there's no user, no maker, or admin activity in an environment, but it contains a cloud flow that runs daily, the environment is considered active. So for all the details on how to manage your developer environments, making sure that they are active and making sure that they are deleted in time, please refer to EY's article. And then we have Dion Taylor, our Dynamics 365 goddess, who talks about dynamic field services not to exceed values. So there's a whole bunch of new features that came in with the release wave 1 that were rolled out. And one of them is a new functionality called not to exceed functionality in Dynamics 365 field service. Not to exceed limits are often used in the field service industry to ensure that service technicians really don't exceed things like budgets or costs and things like that. And so one of the things that we're now able to do is we're able to set up things like budget limits for visits. We're able to set not to exceed values, not to exceed costs, and to make sure they're automatically applied to work orders based on the customer, the incident type, the location, and so on. It's a great article by Dion. Dion always writes great article and always has videos in the articles. So take a look at the article and take a look at the full video in the article as well. Eliza Benitez has a great video on how to open database forms and views from a model-driven app using environment variables. One of the things that when you're trying to open a form or a view in a model-driven app, you have to assemble a URL for things like Power Automate and things like that. Now, the problem is when you're moving those URLs between environments, the URLs are changing. And one of the things that you can do is you can actually use environment variables to keep track of those things that will change between environments and set that once in an environment variable and then reuse those environment variables through Power Automate. Great video. I strongly recommend you go take a look. David Riva has a great article on how to generate Dataverse early bound classes using the Power Platform CLI model builder. And this is something that if you're building an application using something like C#, for example, and you want to make sure that you're strongly typing all your entity types and all your attributes and things like that, you can use something that is called early binding. And so creating early bound classes are classes that will be generated for all your custom entities and all your attributes or your properties or your fields, whatever you want to call it. They will actually be created as part of your class. And then when you're writing your C# code, you're able to use these early bound attributes to be able to make sure that you're not referring to a string variable as a number or a Boolean and things like that. I'm not really explaining that well, but thankfully David Riva does a much better job at explaining how that works. And so go take a look at his article. Kat keeps on getting errors in Power Automate and Power Apps whenever she's trying to add a new record or update an old one using JSON. And so if you've ever wondered why you're getting an error like this, and you're getting errors like Kat is like the JSON whisperer. She actually can see JSON in real life, I think, and she's able to actually understand it. And she's a great job at explaining how the JSON structure works, how to update it, and to make sure that you're not getting these errors. Now, in the article, Kat also has a bonus tip for Power Apps and SharePoint people picker fields, because the people picker field requires a special type of record for single selection or table of records for multi-selection. And again, because Kat is the JSON whisperer, she's able to show you how to create a JSON structure that you need to be able to support that. Geetha continues to have the productivity tips. This is part 3 of the productivity tips. I love these productivity tips because they are templates that are already available for you in Power Automate, and she's just showing how to use them. So this series is about boosting productivity and efficiency by automating routine tasks with a single tap. So the 3 articles or the 3 examples that she shows is, the first one is simplify your expense tracking by customizing a template called Track Expenses in an Excel online template. So you can take a picture and you can enter the information automatically. The second one is how to block focus time for an urgent meeting with a single tap. And the third one is how to actually summarize a meeting, work sessions, whiteboard outputs, and so on and so forth, and notify the attendees. So those are all 3 templates that you can leverage and customize to suit your needs. And the great thing is you can then have instant action buttons that you can have on your app. Natalie Linders has an article called Quick Tips using QuickChart.io with dynamic values for your Canvas apps. And so this is a great article, but the one thing that I love about this article is in the article, Natalie talks about all the people that came together to actually make this happen. She talked to Christine Kolzhiski, she talked to Penn, and really kind of got together, and they all put their efforts together and leverage the work of each other to actually achieve this. So it's a great article. If you want to do some QuickChart.io in your apps and you want to do some dynamic data, it's a great way to do that. The one thing that kind of the summary is really that you need to create a data structure for QuickChart.io. And so she shows you how to use your variables and your collections and concatenating the data to actually populate the data as needed. Lindsay Shelton has an article on sending flow result messages back to a Power App. So if you've ever tried to call Power Automate from within your app, and you want to see the results, you want to see whether you're getting a success or you're getting a failure, and you want to show those results back to the users, Lindsay shows you how to set up a flow, how to handle exception handling, and then how to show the result back to say success or failure. We also have a new independent publisher by Reshmi Aklu, which is Instagram Basic Display. And in the Instagram Basic Display, one of the things that you can do is you can actually use this connector in your apps to get your basic profile information. So photos and videos of your Instagram account. And the API is really intended for non-business and non-creator Instagram users, but you can get your media details, you can get my details or the details of your own profile, and get my media. This is a great way to integrate Instagram into your processes. Love it. Natalie Linders is back again with a great initiative here. It's a comprehensive glossary. And again, we've talked a lot in the past about if you have something that helps you, just write it for yourself. And then if someone else happens to benefit from it, that's bonus. And this is definitely something that Natalie Linders is doing now, where she's created a glossary. It's a very comprehensive glossary of all sorts of acronyms and all sorts of terms that are used in the Power Platform. And she's just kind of starting to populate it as she needs it. But I went through it and I definitely learned a few things. So good job, Natalie. Thanks everyone for your awesome blog posts and articles. We really look forward to seeing more articles from you in the future.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this week's episode. Remember, if you'd like us to feature all of your content, we're absolutely happy to do so. All you got to do is use that hashtag PowerPlatformConnects, and we will scour the interwebs for all the amazing work that you're doing. Hugo, there's one more thing that they can do to get involved. What is that?
One of the things that you can do is to join the community by going to aka.ms/join the community. And there you will become a Power user where you can ask questions, you can answer questions from other folks, and hopefully you can become a super user and get awarded for being awesome and contributing to the community. The other thing that you can do is you can tell us in the comments below who you'd like us to interview next on Power Platform Connections. Bye, everyone.
We interview all the amazing. This is Monday mornings are interesting for us. That's exciting.
So Daniel is going to be super happy because I have a ton of blog posts to cover today.
We're going to make it through, Daniel. If you've ever wondered how to keep your... Daniel, I apologize. You're going to have to do a lot of editing today.